Good morning, everyone. Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Are you able to see my screen? Hello. Now it is audible to you. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Shall we start? Today we are going to continue with the. Today we are going to introduce with a new module, not the continue because that is in a habit that continue. But today we are going to introduce with a new topic, new module, that is the Office Solution Development. Let's start with the revision of that Office Solution Development because we are finished with in the last class we are finished with the research skills. So let's start with the introduction to Office Solutions. So whatever the contents, whatever the condition that they have, so that needs to be established within the time budget, within the time limit. That is the main part of this Office Solution Development. That means how and why it is developed. That is fully established criteria that we have taken. So now it is capable of doing the things that we can add, that we can do in the Office Solution Development. Now the three basic pattern of the Office solutions are now that or not that you understand the basic pattern of the object model. This chapter also explains about how we can use or how we can judge with the new advancement that is used with the Office that is known as the Office object. So you understand the basic pattern of the Office object models. This chapter explains how developer patterns and build their Office solution. And most of the solutions built using the Office follow of one of the three patterns, either using the Office automation executable, either using the Office add-ins, then code behind an Office development. So whatever the code that they have, so that is using the code for the Office automation, for the Office development, for the Office add-ins. And the automation executable is also a program that is separate from the Office that controls and automates an Office application, whatever the application they have, that will be shared, that will be controlled and automates an Office application. The executable or automation executable can be created with a development tool such as a Visual Studio, and the typical example is the standalone console application or Windows Forms application that starts up with an application Office application, then automates it to perform some specific task. So to start a solution with this way, the user of the solution starts the automation executable, which in turn starts up with the Office application. And unlike the two other patterns, the automation to code that does not run in the Office process, it's run in the on process and talks those process to the Office process that been automated. So whatever the Office solution that they have been, they talk about the process, they talk about the automation tools. And the add-in in a class is an assembly, that is a DLL, that Office loads and creates whenever it is needed. And add-in runs in process with the Office application instead of requiring its one process separate from the Office application process. And to start a solution built this way, the user of the solution starts the Office application associated with the add-ins, and they also registers add-in on a startup and also loads them. So whatever the criteria, whatever the material that they have, so that they load the startup and then use a customized for the application or the Office application in the same way that the code behind the document can. And however, the code behind the document unloads when the document associated with the code is also closed. And the add-in can also remain loaded throughout the lifetime of the Office development. That is used with the code behind pattern that was popularized by the Visual Basic for the application, that is the VBA. Now what is VBA? That is a simple development environment that is included with the Office that enables the developer to write Visual Basic code against the object model of a particular Office application and also associate with the code with a particular document or the template. So whatever the document template, whatever the C# or the Visual Basic code that is using or that use the code behind user codes, that is the 2005 tools for the Office, that is the VSTO. And to start a solution built this way, the user of the solution opens a particular or document that has a code behind it or creates a new document from a template that has a code behind it. And the code, whatever the code that they have, that will customize the Office application in some way while the document is open. And in the same way, whatever the code that is behind the document that might add menu items that are only present when the document is open, or associate the code with event that occurs while the document is in the open condition. Now we will discuss two advanced patterns later in this book, and the server document pattern involves running code on a server to manipulate the data stored in an Office document without starting the Office application, and this also makes the scenario possible through a feature known as a cached data that makes a server data scenario, discusses the pattern, and the XML and the XLT pattern is also similar to the server document and involves writing code to generate Word or Excel document in word processor. So when we talk about the VSTO, that is the Visual Basic Code, or the tool for the Office. To start a solution build this way, the user of the solution open a document that has a code behind it and also creates a new document from a template that has a code behind it. So whatever the document that they have, so whatever the follow that they have, so they open a document and also follows the code, or also creates a new document from a template. And the code behind the document will customize the Office solution Office application in some way while the document is open. So when the document is open, it is customized with the Office application. It is customized in some way or in other way. For example, when you talk about the code behind the document, that might also add, or that might add menu items that are only present when the document is open, or associate code with the event that occurs while the document is in open state. So when the document is in open, that will be used for the server document, that the document will be used with the advanced pattern that is a server document that involves running code on a server or to manipulate the data stored in an Office development without starting the Office application. So whenever we are using the Office application or scenario that is gone through this feature, that is known as a cached data. This term is known as cached data, that is denoted with the server data scenarios, that is denoted with the XML and the XSLT, that is similar to the server document pattern, and also involves writing code to generate the Word or Excel documents in the word processor or the spreadsheet, or without using any application. We are using the Excel document, and you can also generate these formats by applying an XSLT transform to some XML data. That is how to work with the XML in Excel and how to work with the XML in a Word. We'll also discuss this scenario. So whenever it is used in the XML in the Excel or XML in the Word scenario, so that is used with an Office application, that is used to discuss these scenarios. Next question arises, what is a hosted code? So adding in the code behind patterns are sometimes known as a hosted code, which means that their code runs in the same process as in the Office application. That means they have a same capability, they have a same hosted out that will be used as a hosted code. So yeah, as the same process as the same application in the same Office development or Office application. Then next is the discovery of the hosted code. So for the code to run in the Office application process, the Office application must be able to discover your code. So first of all, we have to discover the code, load the code into its process space, and also run your code. And the Office add-ins are also registered in the Windows recovery registry so that the Office can find and start them. And unlike the registry schemes, a later known NAT that is used, because Office 2003 also talks to add-ins if they were COM objects and also through a COM interop. So whenever there is an interop or whenever there is a COM object, so that interpret with the COM, that interpret with the interop. And the code behind a document pattern does not require a registry entry. So whatever the pattern that they have, so they must use this pattern instead of the code that is associated with the document by adding some special appearances, by special properties to the document files. So whatever the document files, whatever the property that they have, so when the document is in open stage, so that loads the Office associated with that document. That is known as the hosted code. And whatever the context that is provided to the hosted code, that is critical with the hosted code, that context that need to get the application object or the document file or the application development into which it is loading. So whenever it is loading up, So whenever it is loaded up, so that needs to be maintained or with the application object, that needs to be fulfilled with the application object for the application into which it is loading. And COM add-ons are or add-ins are provided with the context to an interface implemented by the add-in class that is run or that is used with the VSTO that is provided with the context to a class created in the project. That also creates an application, that also creates an development being customized. And whatever the code that is used behind the document in VSTO is provided with the context through a class created in the project that represents the document being customized. So that is being customized within the data. We can see the scenarios that is being used. So whatever the entry point, whatever the hosted code that they have, so that uses in the entry point into which it can run for the first time. That might occur later in the session. And for a COM add-in, this entry point is the on-connection method of ITTE extensibility to interface implementation that is implemented by the code and COM add-in. And VSTO Outlook add-in and the VSTO code behind the document. This document is known as the startup event handler that is used with the entry point for a hosted code. Now, how the code gets run after startup. So whatever the code or whenever we are using the code, so that hosted code starts up, the code continues to run in one of the more of the following ways. How it runs, that will be used after starting up. So that code runs in response to the event raised by Office. So whenever we are using the code, that runs in a response to the event raised by Office. So the most common way that a code runs after startup is in response to the event that occurs in the Office application. So whatever the Office raises, that is known as the event. Whenever a document opens or cell in a spreadsheet changes, that is listed out with a simple class and listen to the activate event that Excel object raises. And typically you will hook up event listener whenever there is an initial entry point of your code is called. And next is interface method called on an object provided to an office. So objects such as the startup class for an object adding implements an interface that is known as IDTE extensibility tool that has a method that office calls during the run of the office application, and if the user turns off the COM add-ins. So whatever the COM add-in, so that office calls the on disconnection method on the IDTE extensibility interface that is implemented by the code add-in. And in this way, additional code also runs after an initial point has run. So whatever the initial point that has run, that is disconnected with the COM implementation. Then next is event raised on the code behind the classes. So whatever the event that is raised, so we are going to raise with the event that is going to use behind the class. And the class is being registered, being generated in the VSTO project that represents a customized application or document that can handle the startup and the shutdown events. And after the constructor of the class executes, Office also raises the startup event. So whatever the startup events, whatever the document that they have, so when the document is about to be closed, Office raises the shutdown button or the shutdown event. Now, how the code gets unloaded. So just read out what we have covered, then move to the next part, that is how the code will get unloaded. So till now we have studied about how the codes get loaded. Next is how it will get unloaded. So just read out, and if there is any clarification in doubts, then you can clarify the doubts for me. Now next question arises how the code gets unloaded. So whenever it is unloaded, that material will be waste, or there are multiple material that will be denoted in how it is unloaded, how it will become hosted pattern of the running code. So there is some other method that is called or event that is raised notifying that you are about to be unloaded. So whatever the COM implements or whatever the COM element that raises, that makes arrangement how it is benefited or how it is made to be benefited with the code. And for the VSTO, that is a Visual Studio Code behind document and the Outlook add-ins, Office Days is the shutdown event before your code is unloaded. The next is the Office Automation Executable. So whatever the Office Automation Executable, that will provide the three patterns of the Office solution in more detail. So Office solution that uses the automation executable pattern, start up an application development in a straightforward manner by creating a new instance of the application object associated with the Office application. And because the automation executable controls the Office application, so this automation executable runs code at startup and any time thereafter when executing with the controls, that returns to the behavior, whatever the behavior they have, so that makes the automation executable. Yes, we can say that automation executable is one of the primary method. No. That is not a programming. It is used with the programming. It is used with VSTO. That is a tool, not the programming aid. And whenever an automation executable uses new to create an application, to create a development object, the automation executable controls the lifetime of the application by holding the created application objects. That created application, whether it is shutdown application, whether it is downloaded application, whether there are multiple number of the clients that are using its application object. So in order to create the My Excel app, for example, variable, Excel starts and adds one of its count of clients that it notes are holding a reference to the Excel application object. And whenever we are using the My Excel app variable, that goes out of scope when the main exits. So there is a .NET garbage collection that releases the object, and also Excel is notified that there is a console application which no longer needed Excel application object. And this causes the Excel's count of the client holding a reference, holding a material, that makes an Excel application more faster, more readable, that goes to the zero, and also Excel exits because no client are using their Excel application. No client means no one is used to their new instance of the application that creates the object. And whenever you are supposed to create an Office development, so that is created by using the new instance of the application object source. That may be to show its window, that may be to prove it's useful, or that may be used for the automation tool, that may be for the window, for the visible property of the application, that object set to the true. And if you make the new window visible, the user controls the lifetime of the application. And in Excel 2, the application will not exit until the user quits the application and the variable holding the Excel application object is garbage collected. And in the same way, they